All right, so today we're going to talk with Trisha on how to find the perfect active adult community. Basically talk about some of the parts of the process, things to consider when you're going through it. That's pretty much it. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Step one, understanding your budget. We're going to put that up there.
So one thing you need to consider if you're moving to a different state is maybe some of the monthly costs that come along with it that you may not have where you currently live. So once you have a budget for your home, you need to take into account. So in Florida, we have HOAs and a lot of communities have CDDs, which are a community development district. So you have additional fees that are above the normal operating cost of a home in a month, like your taxes, your insurance, and your utilities. So you need to make sure that all of that works into your budget for your monthly expenses.
Cool. And so once you understand how much you have to spend, the next step would be finding the area. Things to consider, family, activities that you do, really your lifestyle, your preference of lifestyle, things like that.
Correct. So some of the first questions that people ask that are important to them is how close are they to an airport? So if they like to travel a lot, they want to make sure they're within a good driving distance to an airport. Also, probably hospitals and shopping would be the next thing. And then a lot of people, for instance, if people are into theater or things like that, then they want to be close to maybe like downtown Orlando. Mm-hmm. So to see what the drive is going to be so that they can decide the area of the Central Florida that they want to be in.
Do you see a lot of people moving close to family when they move, or?
Yeah, some. So it depends. Some people, when they are moving to Central Florida, they're wanting to move closer to their family that's already here, either siblings that have moved prior to them, or if their children are here for work. Probably the next most popular thing about moving to Central Florida is being close to Disney and Universal, so the attractions. The nice thing about that is if their children don't live here, they want to come and visit because then their grandkids can go to Disney. etc.
Yeah.
So I would say that would be the next most popular thing. And then if people are moving from, say, New York City, where it's very metropolitan, they want to make sure that they're close to good dining, not chains, and that they're close to like the Dr. Phillips Performing Arts Center and things like that, so that they do have things to do that they're used to doing and not just, movie theaters, etc.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and then weather, right?
Weather is perfect here, right?
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing to consider is like wherever you're moving, you gotta consider the weather.
Yeah, you do. And people do that. I know that a lot of people that are thinking about Florida are also thinking about Arizona, and they're vastly different, both warm and sunny, but one's dry, so you've got to really decide which climate works best for you and what you're looking for in your daily life.
So the third step is going to be really finding the community. What kind of stuff do you look for when you're looking for a community?
So to me, that is, once you've gotten those other two kind of maybe analytical things down, then this becomes more of an emotional purchase. So the community is probably the most important thing. So you want to make sure that it has the lifestyle that you want. A lot of people don't realize how involved they're going to be in their actual community until they get here and they start living it. But there are so many things. People learn to do new things. I know many people that never learned how to swim, and now they move here, and in their 60s they're taking adult swimming lessons. So then all of a sudden the pool becomes important to them. Or they pick up pickleball, which is a really fast, popular, growing sport. Yeah. So they're gonna have so many different interests. I don't think that they put maybe enough focus at first on the community, but the actual community ends up being the most important piece, I believe.
Yeah, I would agree. And then even, so you'd mentioned like the Dr. Phillips Performing Arts Center. I know a lot of communities have activity directors, right? And so you want to look for communities that have that sense of community around certain activities that you would enjoy. There's communities that have, groups that go to,
yes, they
theater
do day trips. They'll get a bus, they'll get transportation and go to the theater and to Disney and different things. But you brought up a very good point. To me, something that you should consider when you're looking at a community is just a member of the community or an HOA board in charge of the activities, or do they actually have an activities director? Because you're going to get a different quality of all kinds of activities if there's actually someone employed that is their job to take care of you. So there's going to be so much variety when you have something like that, as opposed to just John and Susie who live in the community and they like to play cards, so everything's focused around playing bridge or whatever.
Yeah.
So you don't have as much variety. So to me, if it's me looking at the community, it would be very important that there was a dedicated person, professional taking care of your
Yeah,
activities.
completely dedicated to organizing that.
Yeah, and they do fun day trips. When you live in Central Florida, everything's close. So for instance, St. Augustine at Christmas does the lights. They're famous for that. So they'll get transportation to take you to see the lights in St. Augustine, the Sandcastle event in St. Petersburg or in Clearwater. So those types of activities are huge. They go to the Rays games, to the Dr. Phillips Performing Arts Center. So you want to make sure you have those things that you leave your own community and go do, but then also that the events inside your community are really 5-star. So
yeah, anything else to consider for community? I mean,
I think another big one would be, is there a restaurant? Do you really want a restaurant in your community? People don't realize, again, how much they use that. So do you just want a sandwich shop, or do you want an actual restaurant with a chef? That would be something that also determines what people decide, because it is nice to have a full service restaurant with a bar if those things are important to you. Or are you okay with no restaurant, or just a little sandwich shop where you go in and you can get a sandwich at lunch and then it closes? So I would say that would be another important thing to consider.
A restaurant on site for me would be dangerous.
It is dangerous, but it's fun. And it's one thing that I have found in all the communities that have full service restaurants is the social connectivity is huge when you have a restaurant. Because even if you don't come up to eat, if you just come up to have a drink at happy hour, and it doesn't even have to be an alcoholic beverage, but just come up to socialize at happy hour, you really start to meet a lot of friends, and you'll find that you're there several hours, the time gets away from you, but you're having so much fun, it doesn't matter. And then you get either in your golf cart or your car, or you walk, and you're still in your community, so you're home in 2 minutes. So it's really, really nice.
I could see that being kind of a hub to meet people, and then that probably translates into all sorts of different activities, because you're meeting people that are doing other things. And
so maybe I meet you and you're into tennis, and I'm like, oh, I've always wanted to play tennis. Well, I'll teach you. So and so yes, you branch out into different things.
It all started with that burger at the restaurant.
Exactly.
One other thing maybe to consider too is if you have a very specific thing you're looking for. A lot of times some of these communities, they offer most of the same stuff, but sometimes they offer very specific groups and niches. For example, Plantations has the Model Train Club, and that's something kind of specific to Plantations.
Absolutely. So a realtor would be able to help you, because if we know our communities, then we can say, oh, you love trains, this is a great one you need to see. On the flip side of that, it's very easy to start clubs. So if there is a community that doesn't have a model train club, but you really like that community, it would be very easy to get with the activities director and to start that enthusiasm and build a club. So it could go either way. So finding a home, to me, I can find a home anywhere that I can live in. So that's the least important piece, and some people find that hard to believe, but it really is, because the clubhouse, the community, is going to be more of your home than you realize. What I suggest to people is, a lot of people are downsizing from their family home. They've lived there 30, 40 years, raised their kids there. It's huge, 4, 5, 6 bedrooms. You don't need that anymore when you're coming to a community like this. So to really dive into what rooms you use in your current home and try to find a home with those spaces so that you really have a home that fits for you. You don't need to build a home with a lot of bedrooms for visitors. Visitors adapt, or they can stay in a hotel. It's nice to have a little space, but the majority of the home needs to work for you. So really, what spaces you need in your home. And a lot of people realize they can downsize a lot further than they thought they could when they were starting their journey.
So do you see that? Have you seen people purchase home in a community, and then once they're in the community, they love the community, but they want to downsize their home?
Yes, absolutely. So a lot of people come in, and for whatever reason, they think they have to have the biggest home with the most rooms, etc. And they live in a community a few years, and then they sell that home and build a smaller home because they realize that, you know, they don't need all that space anymore.
A lot of maintenance.
They don't want to be cleaning their home when they can be out doing exercise classes, drinking coffee, swimming, dancing, whatever the case may be. If you have a huge home that you have to take care of and maintain, then you're more time in your home doing work, which is what you should be trying to get away from. So, but I think that a big home is not as necessary as people think.
Cool. The other thing is too, considering whether you want a villa, single family, or even a condo, you know, a lot of places offer lifestyle like that. So that's kind of understanding if you want something specific like that and making sure the community has that. It's like a step kind of backwards, but
it's true though, because there are active adult communities in Central Florida that are condos. So you really have to see what's going to work best for you and what you're most comfortable in, and then finding a community would be easy.
Cool. When if I'm looking, when should I find a realtor? When should I start working with a realtor?
I think that it has to be your comfort level, and everybody's different. Some people think if they get a realtor and they're not ready to buy right now, that's not okay, but it is okay, because to build the relationship, find out what you really like, and say you're 2 or 3 years out, by the time you get to that point of buying, we know each other so well that it's easy to know what you want. So I say anytime, but it has to be the comfort level of the buyer, but it's never too early. Absolutely never too early, because one, if you're from an out of state and then you don't know a lot about the area, I'm here, I can tell you, different areas, what's good, what's bad, and really help you so that when you do come, you're not running all over a big radius, that it's narrowed down to things that work best for you.
Yeah.
So it's never too early.
Even if you are, let's say 2 years out, starting that process with a realtor probably makes the whole process as an entirety smoother, rather than coming down and saying, hey, I need a house in 3 months, I don't know where to go.
Much easier, because a lot of times I don't meet someone, I've talked to him for 2 years, and then I finally meet him. There's no even awkwardness, because we've talked so much, either by phone, text, or email. Yeah. We know each other already, so it's basically just the face-to-face, and we both have a comfort level with one another, so there's a lot of trust that's built up, so it's definitely a value.
Cool. All right, thank you again, Trisha. So if you want to get in contact with Trisha, we're going to have information down in the description. And again, if you guys are getting to the point in your search and you're ready to start working with an agent, visit the link in the description. We'll get you guys hooked up with someone good. Anything else?
I don't think so. Thanks, J. Michael. It was
fun. All right. Thanks for joining us.